now what we're going to show you is how to make and blend a dermaviduals customized mineral foundation of a formula number 3. However, we are going to make it more of a cooler undertone as we're going to tailor this foundation. To do this, you look at your colour tone chart. With a more cooler undertone, you can see that we add more black. First, begin with your white base dermaviduals deco foundation. Before we get started, we're going to put your gloves on. Okay. Then what we're going to do is open your dermaviduals foundation and you take off the seal. Keep the lid upside down so it does not get cross-contaminated with anything. Then you open your foil seal at the top of the foundation and dispose of this. The first step is to determine how much of the yellow pigment that you are going to put in your foundation. So we're working with the formula number 3 here. It says that we're going to apply and add 6 grams of the yellow pigment. So getting your scales, you turn your scales on. Make sure it says 0 grams. Place your white foundation on the scales. Then what you're going to do is press the Z/T, which is your tar button. This will make the scales go to 0 again, as you can see. Then what you will do is get your yellow foundation. So base foundation plus, and you can see that this is yellow. As I mentioned previously, we're going to add 6 grams of your yellow pigment to this. The scales still say 0, so squirting that in and we watch the scales increase. As you get closer, you can start to do smaller squirts. And we're quite close now. And that should do it. Just a little bit over, and that's okay because that's not even a gram, it's only 0.3 of a gram. And that's okay if that happens. So putting your yellow one back, what we're going to do is tar this again so it goes back to 0. So what I might actually do, because as you can see here, that's coming quite close to the top, give it a little bit of a bang so you can add your other pigments. So we're going to tar this on the scales and it will go back to 0. Now we're up to adding the red pigment. As you can see here, for the formula number 3, we're going to add 1.6 grams of the red pigment. So getting your red base foundation plus and adding 1.6 grams. and that's 1.6 6.2, so just over, that's absolutely fine. Then the final step to reach the formula number 3 is we're going to add 1.6 grams of the black pigment. So getting your black base foundation plus, we're also going to tar this again, so the scales will go to 0. So pressing the ZT button before you do that, and we're adding 1.6 grams of black. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to blend this foundation. So first off, we're going to get our metal spatula and we're going to sterilise this. So I'm just getting an alcohol swab, sterilising that, as you can see. Just disposing of that, giving this some time to dry. So good. Just giving your foundation, your customised foundation, a bit of a tap so all of the pigment is in there. And now we need to mix. So you're blending your customised foundation and you've actually got to blend for approximately 4 minutes until you can't see. At the moment what you can see is all of the pigment still. So you can actually still see where there's some red, yellow and black. And you don't want to see any of that. You just want to see your customised foundation colour. That's the end result that you want. So keep gliding it across the edges so you can pick up all of the pigments. As you can see, we're getting a better result there. Scraping the edges of your spatula as well to get everything off that. Still getting a little bit of white in there as well when I get the edges, so making sure you can get and get some of these edges. Still getting a tiny bit of white in there as I scraped off the spatula. That's just what was on the spatula. And that's looking really good. So as you can see here, you can't see any pigments remaining, so you can't see any individual blacks, reds, yellows or white. You can just see that that is your formulation number 3 colour, your pigment there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we would actually test patch this on the client, and then you could see what the colour was like. However, we know that we want to add a little bit more black, so we're going to add the black to this to make it a bit more of a cooler undertone. We're going to add 1 gram of black to this. So I'm going to remove my spatula, putting the residue, the leftovers back in there, placing this on the scales, so turning your scales on. And tarring that, getting your scales back to 0. And I'm going to add approximately 0.3 grams. So there we go, just a bit over. And we're going to mix again to blend this black through. So you can see that's becoming more of a cooler colour. A bit more tanned as well. I'm just going to get all the edges in. So mixing all of that through. And that's beginning to look quite well mixed in there. That's your customised formulation number 3 with a cooler undertone, adding a little bit more black. Okay, just having that one last check that we can't see any more pigments through there. And we're pretty good, so we're going to get the residue off the spatula so we can get as much of the product into the canister, and also you can use what's remaining on the spatula just to test pat that onto the side of the face of your client before we close the canister and put the lid onto that, because remember it is a vacuum pump, this cannot be opened again once you have put the lid on this product. So getting as much of this off that. Then what we're going to do, I'm just going to grab a little bit of this off the edge there too. Pat that down, getting the lid of your canister and just pushing that onto the top. And closing that in. And that's your customised foundation. You will get a little bit of residue on the top, which you can just wipe off with your alcohol wipe. And that's your customised foundation number 3 with a cooler undertone. As you can see when you take the lid off, that the vacuum pump is closed. You can try a little bit, giving that a bit of a pump to get some out, and there's your colour.